context of white supremacy, Gus T Renegade, and to share constructive information on racism, white supremacy, what it is, and how it works. I want to make sure I am being heard. I'm going to double check. 818, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Thank you, ma'am. I will open your line up. Give me a hot second. I needed a sound check. Thank you, thank you. Much support in California. I was going to say that. The 4 states in so-called United States, the 4 states where I get the most listeners from, California, Washington State, Georgia, New York. 4 states with the most listeners. California leading by far. I thought that was mostly attributable to Back of the Bus and Cree, because both of them have connections to Southern California. But I was looking at the map, and a lot of listeners all over California now. It's California, strong state, right on. But yeah, thank you for tuning into the program. I hope it is constructive. If it's not, there are thousands of programs here at Blog Talk Radio. Get out there and get cracking. And I would also say anybody who does not find this program constructive, one thing we should definitely keep in mind at the cows, Gus T Renegade still does not have a phone or a computer. Anyone out there, if you don't think this program is constructive, you don't feel that Gus T Renegade is doing the correct thing, if you have a phone and or a computer, you have a lot more resources than I. You should be doing twice as much as Gus T Renegade. If you have a phone and or computer and you feel like I'm not doing the correct thing, which might be true. Anyway, for the folks, I know my man Mac Payne, he shot me several messages about the program today. I was a guest on Sister Nefertari's program. The website, Children of Southampton, she was with us a couple weeks ago. The address for her webpage is Our Cause, OURKOS.com. If you go to her webpage, and there should be a link at the top of the page for radio archives. If you click that, it should take you to a page where a player will open automatically, and it will play the most recent program. And so if you go to that website, I'm thinking within the next few hours, that should be the program that we did earlier today. And yeah, you can check it out. I don't know if you can download it or whatever, but you should be able to listen to it. So again, just go to Our Cause, OURKOS.com, and yeah, you can check it out. Just click the link for radio archives, and you should be good to go. Alrighty. Let's see. Yeah, before I get to the Boondocks, excited to have a whole program where I can chat about the Boondocks. I wanted to make sure that I said again, I mentioned the troubles that the black male known as Lawrence Taylor, he's been accused or suspected of having raped a 16-year-old female Hall of Fame football player. I mentioned it on the program with Dr. Kenneth O'Reilly on May 9th. The symbolism, the racism, white supremacy, and the symbolism of the blind side just continues to mount. I don't know if people noticed or if they know who Lawrence Taylor is, if they knew who he was before the whole sad incident with the rape. But he's the black player that they show at the beginning of The Blind Side when they show the clip of the white quarterback for the Washington Redskins getting his neck broken by a black defensive player, Lawrence Taylor. That's the player, and the whole symbolism of the blind side. You know, you got to have a great tackle to protect the white quarterback's blind side, because you've got those, monkey, savage black people on defense who, will just come and eat him alive if, you don't protect and look out for the quarterback. But yeah, they show Lawrence Taylor's picture and everything. They show the clip of him breaking Joe Theismann's neck. And I think Sandra Bullock, I think she says his name again at the very end of the film, when the black character, when he's signing when he gets drafted and he's signing his contract and everything, she mentions Lawrence Taylor's name again. So I strongly suspect that henceforth, when people watch The Blind Side, that's going to be factored into what they perceive, how they feel about that film. Starting off and seeing Lawrence Taylor at the beginning of the film, and just it'll be, oh, he raped that 16-year-old girl. Ooh, the black rapist male. I mean, yeah, Blind Side, white people win again. But yeah, I brought that up again, one, because I do think it's important, and I just think it's no coincidence. It's just sad symbolism of racism, white supremacy. But I brought that up just because paying attention to detail, I think, is very important. I know for myself, I have learned a great deal more just being more attentive to just little things and being able to pick out more about racism, white supremacy by just, paying attention to words that people use, asking for definitions. It can be very helpful. And just even little things like that in films, very important to pick that bit up about Lawrence Taylor, because he is mentioned twice in The Blind Side. He starts the film. But segueing to the Boondocks, real important to pay attention to detail. I think one of the things that I love about the Boondocks is that it's very layered. Meaning that there's generally, at least I found, there's a lot of stuff going on in the program, and just little things like when they do an homage to a film, and they have tons of them in the Boondocks. Just some of the ones I wrote down just off the top of my head. There's a scene where they do kind of a quick spoof of Pulp Fiction. The program tonight, they did one of Boogie Nights. They had one from season 1 of Juice. They had one from season 1 of Do the Right Thing. They had one from last season to Home Alone, Charlie Brown, Christmas special. It's tons of them. Scarface, Boomerang. I mean, it's just tons of them. And I mean, that has meaning. That's why I think it's real important to do programs that pick out racism, white supremacy in films. That's why I think it's great. The blogs that Kria's done on Avatar and The Blind Side, she just did one on The Hurt Locker. Real important to pick those out. Those films are important. They have a huge impact on the way we think and how we perceive things. White people, suspected racists, do not spend millions of dollars making these films for no reason. And even if you could just think about the symbolism of where millions of us view these films, we don't just watch them, in our homes on 40-inch screen. We go to the theater and watch it on, a projector that's huge. On a drive-in theater, what have you, you're seeing it on a screen that is, humongous. That has a big impact on your perception, and I mean, you see that played out in how these films get spoofed so many other times, and just the impact that they have. People, how many times a day do you see people wearing the Godfather shirt, or how many times a day do you hear somebody say a line from a specific film? This program frequently begins with soundtracks from different films. I mean, films have an extraordinary impact. So just paying attention, and racism, white supremacy is always there. Even if you just look at the films that I named that have been spoofed in the Boondocks, Pulp Fiction, how many times have we discussed that on this program? Boogie Nights, that should be I'm not ringing the cowbell just because I got my hands full right now, but I will hop back on that. Boogie Nights would be a cowbell ring, though. Juice, Tupac Shakur. Can't talk about that film and not talk about racism, white supremacy. Do the Right Thing, all about racism, white supremacy. Home Alone, I haven't seen that in a while, but I strongly suspect that there's a lot of white supremacy, and it's focused on Christmas, so it's got to be there. Charlie Brown, I watched Charlie Brown recently, and there's a ton of so-called Christianity in Charlie Brown. The one I watched was the Christmas special, and I was really surprised because I didn't remember it having that much Christian symbolism and what have you in it, but the Christmas special has a lot. So just being more attentive to that, I think, would be constructive for non-white people. I think it's real dangerous when you watch this stuff and you're taking it in and you're not really alert and paying attention to what's coming across the screen. Can be real damaging. I think not only did Aisha Sekhmet say when she was on the program, one of the biggest things that changed when she was more confused about racism, white supremacy, she watched a lot more television. She said she took a fast. I believe she said she took a 2-week fast from watching television to kind of help clear her mind. And I think Stephen Jacobson, when he was on the program, he talked a lot about television and the impact that it has on brainwashing and just warping your perception. And I mean, that's the reason I had him on the program. I felt that was real applicable to racism, white supremacy. And I mean, man, if we're talking movies, the racism, white supremacy is going to be there. Just expect that. And that is a reason why I'm really happy to announce that Dr. Martin Kevorkian, admitted racist white supremacist. He has been on this program 3 times. He was here in May of 2009. He was here with Mr. Khalid Patterson in October of 2009, and he was with us in April, just a couple weeks ago as well. Very interesting story. I don't want to go into the whole thing. He can discuss it when he comes back, but I was able to work out a deal. He wanted admitted white supremacists removed from the description, and we worked out a deal where in order to get it removed, there is a cost, and the cost is he will be here until the program ends in August. He'll be here once a month to do a program where we will be breaking down different films. We're also going to do one of those programs is going to be an analysis of Invisible Man. That is one of my favorite books, and he begins his book, Color Monitors, with kind of his own thoughts on Invisible Man and how that helped his understanding of racism, white supremacy. So one of those shows will be just kind of a live radio program book report on Invisible Man, which should be great because, like I said, that book is phenomenal. Cowbell ring there, too. But, yeah, he'll be here, so we'll have hopefully several shows down the road analyzing films and breaking down racism, white supremacy in those films with Dr. Kevorkian between now and August. And the part of that deal was also that he has to do one program with Cree as well. So he'll be here 4 more times. First time will be May 29th. And at some point this calendar year, he will also be on Cree's program as well. That was part of the deal. So yeah, something to look forward to. At any rate, as I said, the racism, white supremacy is always there. And I think one of the ways that you can kind of stay alert is when you see any film, even if it's a film that doesn't have any non-white characters in it, like Home Alone. I don't believe Home Alone has any non-white characters in it. I'm not remembering any off the top of my head. I'll make sure I watch. That'll be one of the ones we break down with Dr. Kevorkian, Home Alone. That's already on the list. We'll do that. But yeah, I don't remember there being any non-white characters in Home Alone. That doesn't mean that racism, white supremacy is not there. I would definitely still pay a lot of attention to what's going on. And one of the questions I think that's a good one to ask, just to kind of help you think and to stay alert as you're watching. When you're watching a film, how does it make you feel about black people? How does it make you feel about non-white people in general? Just kind of keep that in mind when you're watching a film like Pulp Fiction, or when you're watching a film like Avatar, or you're watching a film like The Blind Side. When I watch this, do I feel... I strongly suspect that's not the case for 99.9% of the films that come out in the system of white supremacy. I mean, I think you're going to be hard-pressed to find a film, particularly into the films that get nominated for an Academy Award. I mean, now we're talking like Inglourious Bastards, the Pulp Fictions, Driving Miss Daisy, Precious, Blind Side, District 9. You're going to have a real tough time, I suspect, finding a film that white people say is excellent cinematography and representative of the creme de la creme with regards to cinema. You're going to have a very tough time finding something that will make you feel, very tough time. Even if the film is done by a non-white person, I suspect that will still be the case. But that'll be something else to discuss. Precious. But that'll be something else to discuss. We can do that with Dr. Kevorkian. But think about that with regards to the Boondocks. I remember when Oreo experience when she was on the program, and we talked over the week. I think she will be making a return trip soon. Hopefully, she will have her white boyfriend with her, but we'll see. But she should be making a return trip soon. But when she was on the program, she was talking about Tyler Perry's films. Another example, do you feel proud to be a black person when you watch Tyler Perry's films? Oreo Experience said they do not make you feel proud about being a black person. That was her experience, and I think quite a few other people have shared that thought, black people and white people that I've heard talk about his films and said that they don't really make black people look too good. I think with the Boondocks, that is also true. And I want to make sure I get this out clearly. I am a big fan of the Boondocks. I thoroughly enjoy the Boondocks. I've always been a big fan. I used to read the cartoon strip way before it was a television program. I've seen all of the episodes, even the one that came out today. I've seen them all. Big fan. So it's no criticism of Aaron McGruder or any of the actors that do the voices for the show or anything like that. Not at all. I'm just making an observation that I don't think watching the Boondocks you feel black and proud, and that's kind of some of what I wanted to chat about on the program and get other folks' feedback as well. But I don't really think you see black people as being folks that are accomplishing great things and being very constructive. They kind of look. We can just look at the photograph for the description, or that's with the description for this program. I love that shot. I am so appreciative that white people have all this groovy technology that allowed me to. I'm pretty inept with regards to technology, so I was able to figure out how to do it. But that photograph, if you scroll down and check it out, if you're listening here at Blog Talk Radio, that photograph is from last week's episode, May 2nd, 2010, that was titled, It's a Black President, Huey Freeman. That was the debut episode for Season 3. And if you, I don't know, people that don't watch the program, this is Granddad, Mr. Freeman. He is the grandfather of Huey and Riley, the two main characters in the Boondocks cartoon strip and the television program. This shot is taken on the first episode of Season 3. They have a white man. He's a so-called German. He's doing a documentary film on the 2008 presidential election. And it's kind of following, all the Boondocks characters around and getting their thoughts on, President Obama and what it will mean to them for him to win. and basically granddad, he's been just kind of running around talking about how much of a civil rights hero he is, and all the work that he put in during the 60s, and how proud he is, and he says, I think one of the lines he says is, the black struggle is over and we have overcome. And he's real excited about going to the inauguration. And if you look at that photograph, he gets there and he ends up getting tased while President Obama is being sworn in, and it's just I feel like that's just one of the best moments of the Boondocks. That's why I love the show, because I feel like you get an honest representation of racism, white supremacy. I mean, that photograph captures it all, especially when you have context for what was happening during this photograph. A black male getting tased at the inauguration of a black president of the United States. That's racism, white supremacy. And the scene is just incredible. If you have not seen that episode, it is linked in the description for this program. All you have to do is click the title for that episode and you'll be able to watch it in its entirety with no commercials. But I mean, it's just incredible. Riley is next to him and he's yelling, "Save us, Obama! Save us, Obama!" And that is just, they shock him repeatedly. And he tries to tell him, I'm a civil rights legend. You can't do this to me. And they just, keep shocking him. And as you can see, all white people, all white enforcement officials, that could be Norm Stamper right there with his nigger knocker in check. But I just thought that was a brilliant illustration of our the confusion of non-white people and our pitiful and pathetic state, getting tased to death while a black man is a black male is being sworn in as president, as though that means the system of white supremacy even had a hiccup for a moment. Which is why I thought that was the best episode of the Boondocks I've ever seen. The season 3 opener. It's a black president, Huey Freeman. Best episode that I've seen. Best episode that I've seen, hands down. And really, if you look at the episode that preceded this one, the episode that preceded it, the last episode of season 2. That was the Uncle Ruckus reality show. I mean, wow, those are two incredible back-to-back programs. That episode is one of the ones that got banned from season 2. I know the last program, people called in and asked, somebody I think asked why Aaron McGruder might be ending the comic strip after 3 seasons. And I mean, the last episode that they did of season 2, it got banned. It never played here. It's on the DVD and it's all over the internet. So I mean, it's easy to find, but it never played on Adult Swim. People complained, and I guess white people capitulated and did not air the episode. But I felt that was until the episode last week. That episode that got banned was my favorite episode. Just brilliant presentation of racism, white supremacy, and again, it doesn't really make you proud to be a black person. You get Uncle Ruckus, who is my favorite character on the Boondocks, and the symbolism again. That's even his name is an allusion to Song of the South, which the Uncle Remus character. I mean, you talk about racism, white supremacy. Whoa, but Uncle Ruckus, the last episode of season 2, he gets his own reality show, and it basically just follows him around, and he hates black people, thinks white people are just, the rulers of the universe. He gets the bad news, finds out that he is really black. He tells everyone he has revitiligo, that he has the opposite of what Michael Jackson had. And he finds out that he's really a black person, and he almost kills himself. Like, he just goes around and tries to do all of the stereotypical things that black people do, and he just hates it and just thinks it's the worst. He's been cursed by God, and he tries to kill himself ultimately. Doesn't, like I said, does not make you proud to be a black person. And I love the episode because I think it gives a great commentary on just a lot of the programming that black people are subjected to, what is thrown at us on television, films, television, magazines, just all areas of people activity, the way that racist white supremacists have precision crafted the conduct of black people. I think that program just offers great commentary on the unfortunate way that black people behave as a result of racism, white supremacy, how things are set up to condition us to behave like buffoons. I think that episode just does a great job of pointing that out. And I strongly suspect that's why white people went ahead and banned that episode. Because, I point this out to people regularly. The Boondocks comes on the same network as South Park. I have seen extraordinary, outlandish, and crude things on South Park. They had, you talk about sexual confusion, in addition to a ton of racism. Let me get that out as well. Ton of racism. They have a character named Token on South Park, so right on. But I have seen they had a sex change where, and for people who know, South Park is also animated. They inserted real footage of an operation of a sex change on the show. I have seen that on South Park, right? Crazy, lewd, crude things on South Park. I've never heard of a South Park episode being banned. I've never heard it taking 2 years to get out the next season of South Park. They are known for doing just incredibly offensive programming. The Boondocks, 2 seasons, and they've already had 2 programs banned. And a 2-year gap in between getting a season out for a show that, to my knowledge, is successful. It's one of their more successful programs, unless I'm misinformed. But yeah, I think that's why. I think that's why Aaron McGruder, I suspect that's why he's leaving, because of likely resistance that he is getting from racist white supremacists with regards to the program. I think the program, it really does a stunning job of revealing truth about racism, white supremacy. And a big part of that, I think, is showing how pitiful and pathetic black people are. I think some of the more popular episodes of the Boondocks, that's kind of the central theme, focusing on how messed up victims of white supremacy are. I think from season 1, nigger moment. It does not get more clear than that. The program where they just talk about how black people are willing to fight and die over anything, over nothing at all. I can't even say anything. Willing to fight, kill one another over nothing at all. The episode Return of the King, where they give you a fantasy episode of Martin Luther King Jr. Not dying in 1968, but only going into a coma, waking up from that coma 40 years later and just being appalled at the conduct of black people, and throwing his hands up and walking away. Stunningly accurate commentary in my view. And a lot of black people complained about that particular program. They did not like the representation of Martin Luther King Jr. He said the word nigger several times in the program, and a lot of black people complained about that as well. A lot of negative feedback from black people. And I remember a friend of mine, a black male, he said that it would not be white people who get the Boondocks taken off the air. It'll be black people who complain about it and get it taken off the air. And I always thought that was really funny. And I felt it was funny because I felt like there might be some truth to it. I don't hear white people complain about the Boondocks, not openly. I don't hear that. I know a lot of white people who are huge fans of the Boondocks, but I know I have seen publicly where black people have come out and complained about the show for a variety of reasons. But yeah, some of the other shows that I think have been very popular that just kind of evidence the pitiful and pathetic behavior of black people. the program that came on today, I won't say the name because it has a curse word in the title, but basically it shows one of the characters. His name is Thugnificent. He is a so-called rapper, and his rap career tanks, and he has to get a real job, and it basically just highlights, the buffoonish behavior of black people in the system of white supremacy. That's why I love the show. I think that's definitely something to think about. I do not think watching the Boondocks makes you think, I'm black and I'm proud in the way black people are depicted on Aaron McGruder's The Boondocks. And I think the reason it's funny, the reason I think it's great is because I think it attributes that, sometimes subtly, sometimes not so subtly, but it attributes that to the system of racism, white supremacy. I had some clips from last week's program, which I told you, I just said that's my favorite episode, hands down. I've been watching it all week. I have a miserable little existence here on the plantation that is racism, white supremacy, but I was a lot happier this week being able to watch It's a Black President, Huey Freeman. Phenomenal episode. Aaron McGruder and the gang, extremely talented black folks. Yeah, but before I get to that, there is one thing. I was thinking of this. I try to ponder. I use my time to try to think about racism, white supremacy as much as I can. I was thinking, and this ties right to the episode last week. There's a title clip at the very beginning of the program where it says, the last real revolutionary gives, his commentary on the 2008 presidential election. And then the episode begins. And I was thinking, wow, that word, that R word, revolutionary, I'm real cautious about that, because that's one of those words people just kind of throw around and they don't define it, and it's a buzzword. It can get people riled up or what have you, but it doesn't really have a definition to it. I found it doesn't really go anywhere. It can get people riled up, but it's a lot of sizzle, no substance. And I thought about that, and I was like, wow, okay. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the Boondocks. I mean, incredible. I can't even draw a straight line. So, I mean, I'm not even talking about the content, every aspect of it, the drawing, the comic strip, the content, the voices, every aspect of it. Phenomenal broadcast. But, yeah, just thinking about that. And I had already been thinking, I think I have major concerns about entertainers being, I don't know what you would call, I guess the term people throw around would be activists. I have concerns about that, and the reason that I had been thinking about that even before season 3 started with the Boondocks was because I was listening to Dick Gregory, victim of white supremacy, long legacy of doing things to work against racism, white supremacy. But I was listening to one of his lectures, and he was making jokes, right? He's a comedian. I don't know if people know, a lot about Dick Gregory, but he's written an autobiography. He co-authored a book with Mark Lane on the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. He's done a ton of work. He was very active during the 60s, during the so-called civil rights movement. Long, long history, Mr. Dick Gregory, and still going strong. But he was a stand-up comedian. I don't know if he still does stand-up, but he, was a stand-up comedian, a notable stand-up comedian. And when I was listening to his lecture, he was talking about white supremacy. He said white supremacy specifically. He sounded as though, he had bumped into some codification at some point. But he was making jokes, in between his commentary on racism, white supremacy. And I just thought, that's a concern for me, because if you're telling jokes, it's like, I don't know, it can be hard to pick out when you're telling jokes and when you're being serious. It's kind of the same thing I noted with Oreo Experience and Kamau Bell, talking about racism, sometimes saying serious things, but when you come with a lot of jokes, and these people, Oreo Experience and Kamau Bell, they both are comedians. Oreo Experience, she's a comedy writer. It just can be real easy for people to not take you serious, to say, oh, well, they're just telling jokes. Even when they're being serious, they're still telling jokes, that sort of thing. But I was thinking of that with the Boondocks, and I was just like, wow, that really, to me, that's just significant, that if that is our last so-called real revolutionary, whatever that means, our last real revolutionary is a black male whose revolutionary act is a cartoon. That's interesting. That's interesting. And I continued to think about it, and I said, well, not only is it a cartoon, it's a cartoon where the main characters are two black males, but they're children. And on top of the two main characters being black males that are children, and pretty young children, they are black males who are voiced by a black female, Regina King. I'll make sure I get this in from jump. That is not highly unusual to have, particularly young, like kids, male children, to have them be voiced by a female. That's not uncommon. Bart Simpson is also voiced by a female. But, as I said at the beginning of the program, just paying attention to details in the system of white supremacy, to have, I think a lot of people have some regard for the Boondocks. I think some of its popularity amongst black people is that they understand or feel like this cartoon is, offering a commentary on racism and how black people are mistreated. I just think that's interesting that, I think Huey, he's named after Huey P. Newton, obviously, unless I'm misinformed. Kind of the main character and the revolutionary voice of the Boondocks is not a man, not even close, a child that is voiced by a black female. I just find that fascinating on a lot of levels, even if it's nothing more than perhaps that is the only way a program like the Boondocks would be tolerated in the system of racism, white supremacy, to have some of the content that Aaron McGruder has been able to share and produce, because it's not real black people. It's certainly not, Gus T Renegade and Back of the Bus and Cree and Hakima or Mr. Fuller or Dr. Welsing or Irritated Genie sitting down and sharing their thoughts on the presidential election. It's a cartoon, and a cartoon that centers mostly around two small black male children voiced by a black female. I'm saying all this to say it might just be a commentary on this is the only way white people would allow anything like the Boondocks to come out, to put it in the most or in the least worrisome, troublesome format. I don't think white people are intimidated by the Boondocks, although programs have been banned, and he's calling it the last season. I suspect some white people have been bothered, but I just think that's interesting. That's just one to think on it, see if it makes sense. It might not, but I find that very interesting. Okay, want to play some clips and then get other people's thoughts, because folks called in. Some of the clips from the first season, I'll give a quick 2 cents, and then we can go to the phone lines to get other folks' input. Again, context of white supremacy, Gus T Renegade, and Justice. Email address justice.asap@yahoo.com. Again, justice.asap@yahoo.com. Okay, we will do a few sound clips. First clip, I'm not even going to set these up. Just sit back. All of these clips are from last week's episode. This was the debut episode of Season 3. It's titled, It's a Black President, Huey Freeman. And again, if you did not see this episode, man, oh man, you will crack up laughing. It is hilarious from beginning to end. It'll be funny like the 5th time you see it. And it's incredibly accurate representation of racism, white supremacy. It's linked in the description. All you have to do is click the title for that episode, and you'll be able to watch the whole thing. But this is clip number 1. Let's check that out.
How does it feel to be labeled a domestic terrorist?
I'm retired.
So then, now that it looks like Obama is going to win, as a black African-American Negro, are you merely excited, or are you extremely excited that everything is going to change forever? I felt my sphincter.
I'm going to turn the volume up a little bit on that. I think the volume was a little low. It was low enough that I had to turn my volume up, so I will assume it was too low for everybody else as well. So I'll turn the volume up on that sound clip and play it again. Actually, I'm actually going to skip that one. I'm going to save that one for last because I felt that was real interesting for a lot of reasons. I'll play that one last. So I'll play this one and with the volume up and see what it goes.
Bat. Describe Riley Freeman in one word.
I say real niggas.
Real nigger is 2 words.
I know it's 2 words, nigga. Real niggas don't follow instructions.
This is Robert Freeman's other grandson, Riley. He's empowered by the prospects of a black president, but not in the way society would hope or expect.
Oh, if my nigga Obama gets up in there, I'm gonna act a fool. I ain't doing no more homework, nothing. We taking over. Come on, what's the cop gonna do to me? I'm gonna be like, don't make me call the president, bitch. And the cop, he gonna be like, oh, snap, Riley a real nigga. The president's a real nigga. We can't do nothing.
Oh, man. Yeah, I could hear that one, so I'll assume everybody else could hear that one. I remember when I first saw that, I cracked up laughing. Again, to set up context, this white person who's talking, German, so-called German, he's just doing a documentary film on the 2008 presidential election. He's talking to everybody. He's speaking to Raleigh. And the sad thing, like I said, keep that in mind. Are you proud of black people watching this show? If you have an understanding of racism, white supremacy, that is, I mean, it's funny, but it's almost one of those you have to laugh to keep from crying because there were real black people who sounded just like Raleigh. And they were not, you know, I think Raleigh's character is supposed to be like 8, 9, I don't think more than 9. I think 8, 9 years old. They're so-called grown black people were running around saying things very similar to that. Now, I mean, that's a mild stretch, but I mean, black people running around saying things in that ballpark. And it's laughable if you have an understanding of racism, white supremacy. Like only a child or, you know, someone who is extraordinarily confused about racism, white supremacy would think that just because President Obama is in the Oval Office that the rules now have totally changed and ain't gonna be no more Amadou Diallos, ain't gonna be no more Abner Limas, no more Oscar Grants, all that's out the window, you know, police stop me, you know, whatever. I might not even stop me. You would have to be a moron to think that. But it's funny. It's funny because sadly it is true. Not all, but I think a significant number of black people, non-white people worldwide were confused, and some still confused about racism, white supremacy, and what President Obama will be allowed to do, what he will be expected to do. As long as there is a system of white supremacy. But yeah, that seemed hilarious, and particularly because when you watch it, number one, it's just drawn really funny, but when you watch it to see the white person commenting and just observing all this, and I mean, they tend to make the white people very informed, experts, if you will. So to see a white person who looks like a very refined racist white supremacist who conducts himself like a very informed, refined racist white supremacist, observing, a very confused victim. It's just hilarious. Okay, we're going to do next clip. Make sure I get the volume turned up here so it'll be nice and clear for everyone. Okay. All right, this is next clip here. Let's see what this one is.
This is Otis Jenkins, but in the United States, he's better known by his rap moniker, Thugnificent, a combination of the words thug and magnificent. Otis has found success like many Negro American entertainers today by being a professional buffoon. Are you supporting Barack Obama?
What?
For president?
President of what?
You don't know there's a black man running for president named Barack Obama?
His name is Barack? For real?
Barack Obama, yes.
Get the out of here. Barack?
Yes, Barack.
Where's he from? Africa?
His dad was African, yes.
You can't be serious, man. There ain't no nigga running for president named Barack Obama. No way, man. No way. I don't believe you. Stop with me.
Again, Aaron McGruder, the Boondocks, phenomenal. Thugnificent. If you've been watching the Boondocks, then you really will appreciate the first episode because you get to see a lot of characters. Thugnificent. He popped in season 2. Rapper from New Orleans. He was in several episodes. I found that whole exchange hilarious from the very beginning when the white person introduces him and says, he has amassed his fortune like a significant number of black people in the States by being a professional buffoon. And they show like an album cover or a picture of him doing something stupid. And again, like I said, keep that in mind. Are you proud of black people? The images that you see, are you proud of black people? As I said, I think a big part of the Boondocks appeal, at least for me, is because it shows black people as being pathetic and pitiful and stupid, but it attributes our behavior to the system of white supremacy, our victimization. That's what I think makes it such a phenomenal effort. But you do not, at least when I see, I am not proud. I am not proud. And I agree with the white person's assessment in the cartoon, a professional buffoon. And that's pretty much the way the character behaves, like a buffoon. But the thing that I found really interesting, not just his commentary of being totally ignorant about who's running for president, that to the side, but what I found most intriguing about that was that is accurate. I remember when I first heard about President Obama and people were saying he could be president. I think it was, sometime around 2005, 2006. I just thought, I almost said exactly what Thugnificent said. You got to be joking. You have got to be joking. A black person president with the name Barack Obama? Are you serious? Get out. I almost said exactly what Thugnificent said. Even with all of my victimization and being pitiful and pathetic, I think that would have been accurate. That would have been accurate in the system of white supremacy. I think it would have been total folly to expect President Obama, President Barack Obama. Are you serious? White people made it happen, but I do think that is accurate. I think that is an accurate understanding of racism, white supremacy, that even happened, which is what I felt made the scene just even more interesting. For me, and I could be incorrect, but again, white people, and I think that also kind of gets to what I think people miss, that black people did not make Barack Obama happen, did not, allow him to become president. That was white people. That was white people getting behind him and saying, we're going to get this guy in the White House. Lots of white people. And what I would argue, since President Obama is in the White House, the most powerful racist white supremacists wanted President Barack Obama. That would just have to be following the logic. The most powerful racist white supremacists were supporters of Obama, but I could be incorrect. All right, let's do next clip here.
I'm voting for Obama because he's going to lower my taxes.
Actually, he has promised to raise taxes at your income level.
Huh?
And he's just really, really fit to lead. And also body fit, too.
Well, I also support Obama because he's against corporate bailouts.
That is also not true.
Huh?
I'm supporting Obama because he's black.
And he's going to get the troops out of Afghanistan, right?
Also wrong.
Then what the f*** that niggas going to do?
Oh man, just genius work at the Boondocks. I was talking to a friend that I went to high school with yesterday. We were talking about President Obama, and he was talking about how, I think he was saying that Al Sharpton and somebody else, they were being real critical of President Obama. They were calling him out about some things that he was doing or should be doing, or something. And he just said, that bothered him. He said, I'm tired of us, talking bad about other black people and just sit around and pick on and criticize another black person. Feel like we just had this conversation. And I said, I feel like a lot of that comes because black people, non-white people, are confused. And I think there were a significant number of black people who felt, because we have a black person in the White House, I can do whatever I want. White supremacy has ended, which is actually said in that episode. I think Granddad says that the night that Obama wins the election, he says that the black struggle is over and, all this racism stuff is gone. And I mean, there was a lot of that said, right? Post-racial and, all that, there was a lot of that said. So I think you have some black people who are upset, like, hey, things have not changed. I thought we got President Obama, I'm not supposed to be experiencing any more of this racism. The black struggle is over. I'm still struggling. And, they're upset with President Obama, like he's not doing whatever he's supposed to do that was supposed to make their life so much better. I think that's a big part of it. And I think also, I was telling him, the words change and hope. One of the best moments from the episode, Huey, the white guy, is talking to Huey, and he asks him something about hope, and Huey just looks at him and he says, hope is irrational. And he doesn't say anything else. It's just silence. And I mean, when you just throw those terms around, I remember, some non-white people who are a little less confused, they were saying they would just ask questions like, hope about what? What exactly is going to change, and change to what? And they would ask, non-white people these questions, and they had no answers. And I said, that, in my view, that is the perfect way to set someone up for frustration and confusion. Very vague expectations, so you don't have a clear idea of exactly what is supposed to happen, and that can lead to, you making up your own expectations about what's supposed to happen. Then that doesn't happen. Now you're upset. I think a lot of that could be going on as well with black people who are upset. But I think the core of all of that, a failure to understand we are in a system of racism, white supremacy. I think that is the underlying theme of all of the frustration and criticism of President Obama, and that misunderstanding, just being confused about racism, white supremacy. Groovy, let's hit next clip, kind of moving through these. All right, next clip here.
All around the room, I see black faces beaming with elation. It is as though each of them has been elected president. Almost each of them.
What's wrong with you? I thought you'd be dancing on your tail with the rest of the circus champs. Look at them, just as happy as a pig, and can't they see what this nigga's gonna do to our great country? Looks like we the only two people with sense in this whole room. Just you and me. Just you and me.
Man, like I said, the debut program last week, phenomenal. My favorite episode. There was so much in that program. That moment right there, wow. If I was an I told you so kind of person, I would be playing that for specific people, because I'd said a long time ago, I said, Uncle Ruckus is my favorite character. And I said this to a non-black, non-white person. And he said, oh, my God, that's so self-hating. I can't believe you said that. I hate Uncle Ruckus. He just hates black people. I think he's, oh, my God, that's just terrible. And I said, okay. And we watched the Uncle Ruckus reality show, and the person changed their opinion. But that particular clip that I just played, it's the night that President Obama wins the election, and Uncle Ruckus and Huey are sitting in the kitchen together. And Uncle Ruckus he says it twice. Like, pay attention to detail. He says it twice. Me and you, we're the only ones who have any sense. I said, and I think I got it written down on the code, I said, Uncle Ruckus and Huey, those two characters are very close in terms of their philosophy of the world. I mean, I would say Uncle Ruckus, his character is the closest to Huey's perspective on the world of anybody else on the show. And I would love to have the writers, Aaron McGruder and everybody, come in and, hear their thought on that. But, and I mean, particularly with that episode, with that scene, those are the only two people sitting at the kitchen table, and Uncle Ruckus says, it's just me and you. We're the only two with any sense, because we're not jumping up and down and elated about President Obama winning. In my view, the only difference in their worldview is that both of them seem to have a very low opinion of black people. They don't have any black pride, either of them. The only difference is that Huey attributes our loathsome conduct to the system of white supremacy, whereas Uncle Ruckus just thinks that's the way it is. Black people are just dumb and ignorant. White people are the rulers of the world, and I wish I was a white person. Praise, worship white people. But, just that, and I mean, that's a big chunk, attributing why things are the way they are to either this is the way it is or we're in a system of white supremacy. But, beyond that, their worldview is very similar. Uncle Ruckus has a lot of gripes and complaints about black people. So does Huey. And I mean, just that scene right there is pretty incredible. And in fact, it pops up again later. I made a clip of that as well. It's not the next one, but it's coming back up. But this we'll have one funny one, and then we'll get back to this. So I'll do the next clip now.
You see, Bill, I consider myself a black leader now, and that means helping Obama and doing anything he asks.
Oh, yes, I can hear your concern for the state of the world in that song you did about stopping people in the nuts.
Oh, that was the old me. Everything is different now. I'm much, much, much more politically aware and stuff.
Really? Well, name the three branches of government, then.
The what?
Come on, black leader. It's fourth grade social studies time. What are the three branches of government?
Let's see. They got the main branch.
If you're a black leader, I'm glad I'm a white man.
What a moron.
Oh, man. I mean, I cannot say it enough times. The Boondocks is brilliant. And it's what I love about it is accurate. That scene, I hope everybody heard it clear. Again, Thugnificent. He's on the Bill Maher show, and they actually got Bill Maher to voice himself. He goes on the Bill Maher show, and I was cracking up laughing because I feel like I have witnessed that in real life. I don't want to say the names. I'm not criticizing other victims, but I have seen black people go on the Bill Maher show, and something very similar to the sound clip that I just played happened. I have seen so-called educated black people go on the Bill Maher show, and the exact same thing happened. I have seen that in real life. It's on YouTube right now. You could watch it. I mean, just, again, the fact that this is animated, it's a cartoon, I think allows a lot more room. That's why that line could even be uttered. Where Bill Maher, he asks him, do you know the three branches of government? And Thugnificent does not. And Bill Maher says, if you're a black leader, I am glad to be a white man. Just, I mean, like I said, keep that in mind when you watch the Boondocks. It does not make you proud of black people at all. I mean, and like I said, I've seen that, I'm certain just with the way that scene was written, I'm certain that they have seen that happen too on the Bill Maher show. And really, I have just seen that play out anytime a black person talks to a white person. I won't say anytime, but often. I hope it doesn't happen here at the C.O.W.S, but I mean, that is racism, white supremacy. We have been thoroughly retarded, myself included, put Gus T Renegade's name at the top of that list of retarded victims of racism, white supremacy. I don't even have a phone. But yeah, I just that scene hilarious, and just the eruption of laughter, white people enjoying how confused black people are. I mean, it was hilarious for them to hear how ignorant and pathetic this black guy is. Thugnificent. Yeah, okay. We'll do next up. I got two more to go. Oh, yeah, this is a great clip. Great clip.
How do you feel being teamed up with your arch enemy?
First of all, we're not a team. Second of all, we're not a team. I've got gas money, he's got the license. We're just going to drive to Canada and then go our separate ways.
You talk about rock hard codification. That is right before the inauguration. Huey and Uncle Ruckus, I'm using the term loosely, have teamed up to leave. They both have come to the same conclusion. We do not need to be here. Uncle Ruckus, because I don't want to see a black person in the White House. He's already referenced. He's been throwing bricks at pictures of Obama, and he references the entire Obama family as monkeys. Huey has almost been lynched by black people because he wasn't euphoric about President Obama being elected, and they, got angry with him, which happened to me too. That happened to me too. And I was not criticizing President Obama. I was simply saying, well, we're in a system of white supremacy. I don't know what his election will do to change that, but I'm not mad at him. I'm not, going out here telling people not to vote for him. I don't think that's not gonna solve the problem that I think we should be trying to solve. And people got mad. This happened to back of the bus too. This happened to him too. And to my knowledge, I've never heard him say anything against President Obama. Even when he was running, I never heard him say anything against President Obama. And that played out exactly on the Boondocks, where Huey never said anything against President Obama. It was just he wasn't, all ecstatic about the prospect of having, a Negro in the White House. But I mean, rock solid codification. Ruckus and I, we're not a team. We just have a common goal. We're going to accomplish that and then part ways. Rock, I mean, you do not get more united, independent than that. I just, man, incredible moment. And again, Huey and Ruckus together, I said, I guess I am doing it, I told you so, but I thought that, and I thought it was just incredible that it played out that they were a pair, essentially. Like I said, I think they have the closest worldview on the Boondocks. Ruckus and Huey just differs in that one attributes our patheticness to white supremacy. Okay, this is the first clip. Hopefully it will be a little louder now so that everybody can hear it, and then I will hit the phone lines to get feedback from everybody else.
How does it feel to be labeled a domestic terrorist?
I'm retired.
So then, now that it looks like Obama is going to win, as a black African American Negro, are you merely excited? Or are you extremely excited that everything is going to change forever? I felt my sphincter clinch and my scrotum contract in shock at his response.
Oh, man. I remember just when I watched it the first time, I was bent over laughing for a variety of reasons. I'll leave it at this so I can open the phone line because I have a full switchboard. But I felt the most significant thing the white person's response to Huey, who is pretty much the only black person who is not elated, other than Uncle Ruckus. He's the only black person who's not elated about all this. You know, he's pretty humdrum. And again, he's not bad-mouthing Barack Obama. He's not saying, you know, vote for McCain. He's not telling anybody else not to vote. He's just, you know, yeah, I mean exactly what he said. Yeah, you know, I'm just kind of doing my thing. I'm not really caught up in all this. And the white guy just finds Huey so depressing, and particularly what he says about how the adverse impact that this had on his testicles and anus. I thought that was incredible, and speaks a lot to what I have asserted before, that for white people, practicing racism, white supremacy is a sexually arousing thing. I see that. I think the act of lynching is that in a nutshell for white men. It is their Viagra. At one and the same, I'm castrating the black male and reaffirming my own sense of masculinity. I think that is racism, white supremacy for white men and white women. And a codified black male, even a child, who's not, you know, being real emotional and crazy, who's just trying to think logically through things, had that impact on this white guy. And I mean, this continues. Every time the white guy talks to Huey, he's just like, oh my God, this is the most depressing kid. I want to kill myself. I thought that was very interesting, and I thought that was very similar to the way I think white people would respond to having more informed victims of racism, white supremacy. I think they would be, I think they would have a lot of anxiety, just based on the way they have conducted themselves on this program and what I've seen in person talking to white people. I think you would get a replay of that scene over and over and over. I'm going to play Mr. Williams' commercial for Counter-Racism, and then I will come back and open all the phone lines up so people can share their thoughts on the Boondocks or anything else racism related, although I would like to keep this discussion on the Boondocks because I'm a fan, and I have a great deal of respect for Mr. McGruder's work and all of the other folks who participate in making the Boondocks the success that it is. So quick commercial, and we'll be right back. Context of white supremacy.
Is racism hurting you? On issues of race, are you unable to speak, think, and act with clarity and confidence? Are you tired of laughing when nothing is funny, smiling when you are not happy, agreeing when you really disagree? At counterracism.com, you can learn specific strategies and techniques to counter the behaviors of the people who practice racism in all areas of activity. Using words correctly, following counter-racist logic, even counter-racist science projects designed to reveal what racism is, how it works, and how to counter it. The open source code writing format allows you to pick and choose from a variety of counter-racist suggestions so you can produce the code that works for you. Stop by counterracism.com today and help replace racism with justice.
That's counter-racism.com.
Context of white supremacy, Gus T Renegade and Justice. Quick announcements before I open the phone lines. Counter-racist evolving engineer, Cree, she will have a program on May 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific. Her guest will be Abena Africa. She has a program right here at Blog Talk Radio. It was Racism Non-Anonymous for a long time, but she's switched up the name of the program, but it's still the same content dealing with racism, white supremacy. She will be on Cree's program this Saturday, May 15th, time again, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific. Counter-racist, evolving engineer. Support her blog, Cree7.wordpress.com, and Back of the Bus's blog as well, nonwhitealliance.wordpress.com. The cows will be back on Friday. Dr. Eddie Moore Jr., founder of the White Privilege Conference, makes his second visit to the cows. Should be very interesting. We'll be chatting about the White Privilege Conference being sexual intercourse between white people and racists. Should be a very, very interesting broadcast. That will be Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific. Context of white supremacy. Please favorite the program. If you think it's constructive, click the heart right here at Blog Talk Radio. Subscribe. That way you'll find out all the updates when new shows and things are coming down the hill. And if you think the program is constructive and you have a blog, it would be helpful. You could put the player on your blog. That would help generate listens, and people could listen to the show and stay on your page, so they wouldn't have to leave. The HTML code is right on the show page here at the cows. Real easy to do, cut and paste, real simple. That would be helpful. You can do that for Cree or any other person that has a program here at Blog Talk Radio. And if you think what they're doing is constructive, that would be very helpful. I would appreciate it. Going to the phone lines, I'm going to get my bud, the gorgeous Love, Truth, Liberation, calling all the way from the East Coast, North Carolina, since it is after 4 a.m. East Coast. I will go to her first to see if she has comments, anything she would like to share.
Hello, you all.
Greetings. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I was real happy to hear you talking about that show, and I was happy to see on your show page that they had restarted the season. So, like, you informed me, and then I went and I watched it. I'm also a really big fan of the Boondocks. And, like, one thing that I like a lot is just, like, the variety of characters that McGruder, or whatever his name is, has. Because there's, like, there's Tom, who has the white wife, and it's just really interesting to see, like, his story and everything. And then he has a daughter that reminds me of biracial Tiffany. And I was trying to, like, get you to read the book and, like, listen to the stuff that she says, because the stuff she says is so funny. You know, just the whole, like, identity confusion and getting upset when she's called black by Huey and et cetera. So yeah, I recommend for everybody that likes the Boondocks or wants to get into the Boondocks to also pick up, like, the whole book, the comic strip book, which puts together all the strips that go in the newspaper in order. And it's called, I think, something like A Right to Be Hostile. So.
There's several of them, a couple of them. I linked a couple of them in the description for this episode, so you can click on the pictures and, you know, all that. But yeah, the strip is great. I was a big fan. It's I think it's only in syndication now, I believe. I don't think he's doing it anymore. But yeah, I would highly recommend those. I cannot believe you just compared Jasmine Dubois to Tiffany Jones. That's
you don't see that.
I have no comment on that.
Okay. Well, I just feel like Jasmine Dubois is a really good character drawing or caricature of just that whole biracial experience. Yeah, because, you know, she doesn't really she has a hard time hanging out with white people, and they say racist things to her in the comic strip. And she's like, well, you know, I do have a black parent. But then when she's trying to hang out with black people, you know, some of them will accept her. But, you know, she's like, oh, but I'm not black. Remember that? I don't know. It's just that whole, I think it's really just all the characters I think are really good. And they, like, shed light on different aspects of the quote-unquote black or non-white experience. One character that I think that you don't see too much is the whole that kind of conscious / neo-soul / back to Africa character. But Huey had a best friend that would meet that description, but that person's only present like in a few or whatever. So yeah, it's a really good show. Oh, and another comment I wanted to make is it was really funny when Riley was like, man, now that Obama's president, I ain't doing no more homework. You know, it's done, it's all over. That was really funny. And it was a shame. And actually, there's a clip on YouTube where this black female goes to the hood and is interviewing like young adults there, like young teens, and they're saying the same thing. They're like, oh, we run it now. Barack's in office. And it's really sad. It's like wow, you know, and you're still in the ghetto. You know.
Does if I can ask one? Oh, can I be heard?
Yeah. I can hear you. Hello? You might have muted yourself now.
When you watch the Boondocks, based on what you see, particularly in the television series, when you watch it, does it make you proud of black people?
No. No. It's very real. And the answer is no.
That is why I love it. It's very real. You get an accurate depiction, even though it's animated. You get an accurate depiction of what's happening on the planet, the pathetic state of black people because of the system of white supremacy. It doesn't just make us look bad. It does, I think, do a really nice job of throwing the blame on white people, even though it's kind of subtle sometimes, and sometimes they're pretty overt, I think. But it does blame white people for it, which I think is accurate. Or more correctly, it does blame the system of white supremacy, which is white people ultimately. So, you know, always much love for love, truth, liberation. Your mic is open. I'm gonna add the other folks to the line because a lot of folks called in and want to see their perspective too. But please, if you are able to stay up, I know it's late, and you want to share more, please feel free. Your line is still open. Everybody's open. I did want to share before everybody else takes over. With Riley, I thought that was you reminded me of that. With Riley's character, I know white people, it was almost like the garden party. That was the first episode from season 1 where white people love Riley's character. I know a white woman who has had sexual intercourse with non-white people multiple times, I suspect. She says she loves Riley's character. He's her favorite character on the Boondocks. And I think Mr. Nero, he was talking about that line, the same line where Riley says, you know, real niggas don't follow directions, and I'm not doing homework anymore. I'm not going to school. Forget all that. We're in charge now. Like, even before I saw that episode, I said, Riley's going to jail. Like, I mean, Riley's going to jail. I mean, he's breaking rules. He's out vandalizing stuff. He's going to jail. I mean, we're just counting down until he gets his number and his commissary and everything. Pathetic and pitiful, very confused about the world in which he lives. Everybody, your line is open. Feel free to share your views.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, Big Bud.
Good evening. Is this Hakima?
No, it's Little Bud.
Oh, right on. How are you doing?
Tired, but I like sleeping to your program. I actually like listening to it before I fall asleep.
Oh, well, right on. I hope it's therapeutic and not just boring dialogue that helps you get to disease.
It's like a lullaby to me. Yeah, trust me, it helps.
Right on.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been able to see any of the episodes of the Boondocks?
I saw the new one, and I laughed so hard. It is so funny. interesting. I was one of them. I was so excited for Obama. I was so excited we're gonna have a black president. I was one of them. I was. I went to Columbia City and I hung out with the excited white people and we drank beer together as he became president. And everyone cheered and I took a picture of everyone. And I stood there and I was like, what the hell is going on? Why are they so excited? If you were a white person, privileged in a white supremacist system, if Barack Obama was to change anything in the system, then they should be scared. They shouldn't be screaming hallelujah and clapping and high-fiving the black person next to them. And I realized from that moment on, that point on, I just realized that nothing is going to change. He's either going to become a puppet, and he is used to confuse. I hate to say it, President Barack Obama is used to confuse non-whites. Non-whites, it was so easy for non-whites to be angry at the government, right? It's easy to identify the enemy because it's always been a white male. It's always been a white supremacist in office. All of a sudden you have a non-white in office, and you have all this really nasty, dirty stuff done to non-white people. And it teases them. How can they get mad? How can you get mad at Barack Obama? Defend them. You see non-white people defending everything that's going on right now. And let me know if you any comments. That's just my thought.
Do you see, I guess, non-white people getting upset with, like, blaming him for things happening that shouldn't be happening?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see that, too.
Did either of you catch Minister Louis Farrakhan on TV One tonight, the 2-hour interview?
No, I did not.
He was addressing that, and he was cautioning, well, he was, of course, speaking to black people because he was on TV One, but he was cautioning them to be careful how they criticize President Barack Obama. He said because what you don't want to do is add fuel to the fire, and then they kept inserting clips of the Tea Party people with the signs where they're, all against Obama. Obama's a terrorist. Obama's a fascist. So he, in between when he was talking, they kept inserting those clips, but he was saying you want to be very, very careful in your criticism of him because of the fact that just adds more fuel to the fire for the racist white supremacists. And I do believe he said for the white supremacists, those who were already against him. And he was saying, at this time, neither Michelle nor Sasha nor Malia Obama can afford to be deprived of their father, because of that type of stuff. So, just be very, very careful in how you criticize him. Yeah, but it does kind of put you in a quandary because, you don't want to side with those who are white supremacists and just trash the man. And then you don't want him to fail either because, it'll turn around and be a reflection on black people.
Yeah.
Whatever he's supposed to fail at, I mean, the whole Rush Limbaugh thing, I just want him to fail, period. If he's doing something good, I don't want him to fail at doing the right thing. However, I don't know exactly that he is trying to do what's right. So, I didn't vote for him, so. But I did not vote for McCain. Don't get it twisted. You know what else I noticed on that episode? I watched a little bit of it on YouTube, but the volume was so low on the first part of it. It was so funny to me how accurate the depiction was when the guy with the white wife, they're sitting on the couch and they're talking about Obama, and she keeps saying, oh, he's so slim, or oh, he's so handsome, like she kept focusing on how attractive she found him.
That was so hilarious.
You remember during the campaign they had Obama girl, the white girl that was just in love with Obama?
Mhm.
She was making all the videos on YouTube.
That deserves a cowbell. There you go.
Yeah. Oh, wait, and all the white women want to get with black men and make more little Obamas.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
You guys know
Kamau Bell.
Yeah. Did he say that on the show?
Yes, he said that's one of his jokes, that he and his white wife are going to get together and make some little Obamas.
Oh,
Have you guys seen the real Uncle Ruckus on what's his name? That pastor, Pastor Manning on YouTube that all the white people follow. He's the one that's always trashing Obama and calling him a long-legged Mac Daddy.
Whoa.
He actually made a video where he was saying, it took a white woman to give us a black president. He actually said that. You can find it on YouTube. He says, it took a white woman to give us a black president. He did not come out of the loins of a black woman.
That's true.
But if you watch him, he's supposed to be awakening black people, but he kind of reminds me of Dave Chappelle's character, the black white supremacist. But his following, you will find people that repost his videos, follow him, and agree with him on almost everything he says are white people.
Mhm. Of course. Why not?
He's the real life manifestation of Uncle Ruckus.
Mhm.
Excuse me, can I be heard?
Yes.
Did you also see the one clip with Manning where he does the 54 double D's?
No.
About Obama? Oh, you got to go watch that one. That if you don't see but one Pastor Manning YouTube clip, find the one where he talks about how Obama gets his campaign started with a white woman with two great big old 54 double D's. I mean, that is classic.
Oh, did you see the episode where he was talking about black people made good slaves?
Oh, yeah.
That's Uncle Ruckus, I'm telling you. I don't know if he modeled himself off of Uncle Ruckus or if Uncle Ruckus was modeled off of him, but it's like one and the same.
Yeah, they kind of resemble one another, actually.
They do.
They do kind of resemble one another. This is Mr. Nero, by the way. Just to offer a comment about tonight's show. I mean, it took me a long time to get it back together when what's his name, the rapper Thugnificent, when he says, "Don't call me Thugnificent no more. Call me my government name." Jenkins. Oh, I mean, I lost it for a long time. And Gus, just to respond also to the part you were saying about as far as when Huey is asked about having a black president. I had a similar experience. I don't even think I said I just gave kind of a grimace when a friend of mine asked me about it. And before I could even respond, my grimace was enough for him to just jump all over me, you know. And I said, wow, I'm going out. I hope we don't lose our friendship over this. But I said, I'll just wait and see. But, he was really bent out of shape about the fact that I just wasn't, doing backflips and because he was crying. After he was elected. He was literally in tears. And here I was kind of going, just kind of making the facial gesture of, well, we'll see, And I said, wow, I had to go straight to the code and said, okay, I guess it's time for me to leave, you know. Because I can see right now, you know, this escalating into something. So I can definitely relate to that.
Out of the people that are on the call now, when you watch the Boondocks, does it make you proud to be a black person or proud of black people?
I've only seen one full episode, and that was the one where the relatives come in from Louisiana after Hurricane Katrina. And from what I've seen so far, no, it doesn't. And I kept trying to think during the program, has there anything on TV that has made me feel proud to be a black person? The only thing I could think of is The Cosby Show. That's it. And TV One, where Kathy Hughes interviews people. That's it. As far as what's
just to respond to Gus's question, I would say no.
We have a full line. I think that's 3 people have responded, so there should be three other folks on the line. I'd be curious to get their feedback as well. If you've seen the Boondocks, does it make you proud? If you are a black person, does it make you proud to be black? Does it make you feel proud of black people?
Hello, Gus.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is 909, and the answer is no. Yeah, I'm not proud watching that show at all. To be black male. And I wanted to make a comment if I can. One of my favorite cartoon villains is the Joker, and he's a real white man. Like, his face is white, you know what I'm saying? And he killed people by making them laugh to death. And I think black people are gonna, or non-white people and black people in particular, I think that's how they got. I don't know. It just reminds me of that character. Like, people love to laugh, and they laugh at things that are killing them. That's what I see.
I was thinking that just hearing you all, you know, thus far, no one has said that the Boondocks makes them proud to be black or proud of black people. At least to my knowledge, unless I'm misinformed, the Boondocks is a very popular program. I'm just curious, at least amongst black people, I'm curious as to what attracts black people to the show. I know for myself, I suspect for people listening to this program, you see a lot of aspects of racism, white supremacy being revealed pretty honestly. For people, black people, who are a little more confused about racism, white supremacy, I'm just curious as to what's drawing them to the program, and if it could be that they just enjoy seeing black people being ridiculed and made to look silly and pathetic, if that's, you know, entertaining to us.
I think for some people it is, especially if you look at what comes out in the theaters and what black people support, the Wayans Brothers films, Tyler Perry. I think they do enjoy it. I honestly hadn't watched much of the Boondocks because of my first time seeing it. You know, it was a lot of the use of the word nigga and stuff like that. It kind of turned me off, so I hadn't really tuned into it too much. But if you look at what's popular in black entertainment, I'd have to say it seems like they do enjoy seeing themselves ridiculed. Maybe it's part of that black inferiority complex.
When I first started watching the Boondocks, I wasn't aware of racism, white supremacy. And so I would have to say that I just liked it because it's real. For instance, Riley, that guy's funny. You're aware of people like Riley. Then you do know people like Huey, even though you're looking at them like, what is this dude talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is he so angry about? And I have a lot of friends who are unaware of white supremacy, and they just enjoy, for instance, like a pimp named Slickback, who's like a character on the show. So, yeah, I mean, I think you can still enjoy it. There's just a lot for you. It's a very real black show. When white people do shows about us, they do stuff like whatever that new cartoon is. That's like the Black Family Guy, and it's just very insulting. You got the over-sexualized daughter and the obese son and the buffoon of a father. You feel me? But
Cleveland show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to use my highlighter really quick before I retreat to the background. We're saying this is, or I guess people are saying that some view this as a very real show, put that in quotes, real show. Pimps are seeing black people depicted as pimps, hoes, professional buffoons. That was what they described Thugnificent as, a professional buffoon. Lots of gay black males. No relationships between black males and black females. I can't think of a marriage, anybody. Granddad's wife is passed away. Huey and Riley, we don't know where their parents are. You have no black male, black female relationships at all depicted on the program. And the black males, I mean, you got one that's married to a white woman, Uncle Ruckus, Thugnificent, gay black, Gangstalicious, gay black rapper. I mean, is that a real, put that in quotes, a real representation of black people, or is that what we think is a real representation of black people?
You got to add in some heavily Christian black folks.
Are they regular characters? Who are the regular characters that are Christian black folks? Is that element on the Boondocks?
No, I didn't. I said if you added in some very Christian black folks, then it would make it complete.
Oh.
Yeah, that's definitely something that's missing.
When the family was there from Louisiana, wasn't the couple that was hustling them? Was it a married couple, or was it the cousin and his mother? And they had a bunch of kids all around the house?
It wasn't made clear. At least to me, it wasn't made clear who was married, where all the kids came from. It was just it's just a jumble of Negroes. Like it wasn't. At least to me, it wasn't made clear.
Okay.
And they're not a recurring characters on the program, so that still wouldn't. At least for me, that wouldn't satisfy a lot in terms of black male and female relationships on the show, because I don't think they've been on the show more than that one time.
No, I haven't seen a representation of black male and black female relationships at all. And I've probably seen every episode except for the band Boondocks episode of I think, what did you say, Uncle Ruckus's reality?
Yes, that is online. If you Google Uncle Ruckus reality show, I emailed it to 909 over the weekend, or I emailed him the other one, but it is online. You can see it. I would strongly recommend folks seeing it because it is fabulous, incredibly accurate. Yeah, I would highly encourage folks to check that one out.
Yeah, will do.
I mean, is it real? Is it? That's a good question right there.
Well, just even whether it's real or not, I guess that, at least for me now, I would put that on the back burner. The question is just, if people think this is real, wow. Like, people watch the Boondocks and think this is an accurate representation of black people. And Gus, you have to put my name on there. I'm saying to a certain degree, yes, it's exaggerated a little bit, but yes, this is an accurate depiction. If that's true, man, I mean, I don't ever want to hear anyone bring up again black pride. If that's true, If we're saying we do think a part of the appeal of the Boondocks is that this is giving you an accurate representation of black people, man. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, I love this show, right? So I should want to identify with a character, okay? Now, I mean, for black males, you know, think about that, who you identify with on the Boondocks. But for black females, man, I mean, you don't even have a recurrent character on the show to pick. I mean.
Yeah, that's true. Exactly.
Yeah, that is true.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should have Aaron McGruder on the show.
I would love to have him. And I would ask him because I think Huey is his voice. I think Huey is the closest articulation of Aaron. I mean, the whole thing obviously is, but I think Huey is the closest articulation of his voice. And I would want to ask him, what do you think that says that, you know, if you're the last real revolutionary, your voice, Huey, has to be packaged as an animated 10-year-old black male, a child, who is voiced by a black female. Like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like we even have to bring up emasculation. I mean, whoa. I mean, and I love the show. I'm just saying, do we think that's relevant? Is Gus talking crazy? I would love to hear his response to that.
I think it's kind of like a Dave I like the show. I haven't seen it on television. I don't have a television, but I watched it on the internet, some of the shows, and I did get a chance to see those band shows and stuff. That was, you know, it's entertaining. What I like about it is that it's creative. You know, one thing I criticized the Oreo experience and that other guy that came on is that, you know, they didn't seem like they were that thoughtful and that they were that creative. But I will put it in the same category as what they do, and Dave Chappelle also, is that Dave Chappelle was entertaining. You know, it's like if you're gonna criticize or demean black people, it's like that, you know, be entertaining at least. You know what I'm saying? Don't just be boring with it or whatever. You know, it's just stupid then or whatever. But yeah, I think it's like I say, I just would equate it with like the Dave Chappelle show. I think it really, like you said, emasculates. There's no, and it's I think in the end, and like I said, I like it. I laugh. It's entertaining. It's very creative. It's high in the artistic scale as far as I'm concerned, but it's poisonous.
I found it interesting. I didn't know that any of the Boondocks episodes had been banned, but when you mention that in contrast with, what's the other show, South Park, oh my God, I've seen some of the most horrible, just like vulgar, perverse things on that show. I mean, you would think all kind of different organizations, you know, would have risen up in protest to that show and got certain things banned. It's gone. I used to watch it, and then after a while, I was like, okay, enough. From racism and the Klan and the lynchings to, was it Steve and Satan or somebody like that? Saddam Hussein and Satan fighting over this guy named Steve. To when Isaac Hayes was on there and they were doing the thing about Scientology. It's just so much on that show. Yeah, and to see that they haven't banned any of the episodes, that says a lot about who's in control.
For sure. It says a ton to me about those two episodes. I mean, just, you know, wow, they banned the Uncle Ruckus reality show program got banned. I mean, just to me, that right there means, okay, I really should pay attention to what was said in this program because, I mean, South Park, I've seen them, I mean, they mocked the so-called Somalians when the whole what they call pirate incident went down. They mocked them. They had the white people go there and slaughtered all the black people. They mocked them. They made, total jest of that. And nobody banned that. Nobody jumped up and down and got that taken off the air. Uncle Ruckus reality show, taken off the air. No killing, no ugly references to white people. Just commentary on BET and what black people see on BET, and kind of a commentary on black people in general. And that one got banned.
But you know who runs BET, who owns it now? It's not black people.
I mean, it's white supremacy. I mean, even if it was so-called Bob Johnson, I know he's not in charge. I mean, it's white supremacy.
But that would just point finger at who's responsible for continuing to bring the degrading images across on BET. Maybe that was why they wanted it banned.
Could be. I'm sure BET. I'm sure. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. I think it's interesting though that it's. There's white people control a lot of other things. Other than BET, but they use BET to ban Uncle Ruckus. Why couldn't they use something else? They couldn't use another venue, they can use another station, or they can use another company to do that. They specifically used under the name of BET to do that. I just think that's interesting.
You could blame black people.
Yeah.
Say it wasn't us, it was other black people who complained about the show.
Mhm. Oh, and the thing about South Park, recently, I don't know if you've seen this, Gus, but they just did an episode on, with a little, I haven't watched it, but something about a little teddy bear, and inside there's supposed to be a guy named Muhammad, and it's supposed to be the prophet, and the only repercussion they got is that they had to censor the word. They bleeped out the word Muhammad. And they were completely making fun of how the prophet's like a little teddy bear, and it's like a guy in a suit. You never see who he is, and he just says things, and he does things, and he's praised, or blah, blah, blah. I don't know what it was, but that's as far as they got. They just got bleeped out.
Oh, shit.
They just had, what's his name, Seth MacFarlane, and a lady from South Park, and this other guy, another white guy. I don't know who he was, though, but they were just on Larry King the other night talking about South Park. Yeah, I'd like to see Larry King have Aaron McGruder on there. That would be interesting.
Hey, Gus, don't you think, because I know South Park, or whoever would like to comment on this, I was just thinking that I know South Park, they specifically attack people by name. I mean, I haven't seen all of the Boondocks, but that was, his characters are more, abstract or whatever. But this was the first time I think he went after a specific company, by name. But South Park, they do it all the time. I mean, I found that interesting too. Like the first time, the he's a black male, and he wanted to use his voice, and it was his last shows and stuff, so it was impactful, and he wanted to go after, BET and use the name. It didn't even air.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess they did get at R. Kelly, but I would agree. They generally, don't call people out specifically by name, which South Park does do all the time. Yeah, Would you all? I don't know if any of the people on the line, if you have offspring, but would you let your offspring watch the Boondocks? So how would you feel, if your kid says, I wanna watch this show. I hear people talking about it. I want to watch this show. How would you feel about your kids watching it?
I think that would depend on how old they were and how aware they were of the system. If I thought I could use it as a teaching tool, maybe.
Do you think you could use it as a teaching tool for a child? And if so, at what age do you think you'd be okay trying to use it as a teaching tool?
Well, it seems Justice is old enough to learn from it, so from her commentary on it, so maybe around age 10. Maybe around age 10 or up.
She's 11 now, thank you.
Yeah. Well, like 10 and up, and to show them what you don't want to be, how you do not want to behave.
I would say no. Nah, I wouldn't let my child watch it. I don't have any children, but I wouldn't let them watch it until they got old enough to buy their own television and cable and whatnot. Cause no way.
How come?
Well, you heard my views on it. I don't think people understand the impact television has on the mind. I think they're living in the ancient times with this so-called satire. I don't think that there's any satire anymore, especially on television. Satire is more of a theater thing, but watching it and trying to create it on television, I don't think it works.
I would just say, this is Mr. Nero. I have 2 boys, and I was a single parent for 10 years. And white people, the Gentiles, forced me to go through rigorous scrutiny to prove that I was capable of caring for them. So I had to go through parenting classes, which I have a certificate for, one-on-one therapy sessions where a white person sat behind a room with one of those two-way mirrors, and there was an earpiece in my ear, and for the first 30 minutes they would instruct me how to play with my son, and then for the next 30 minutes they would instruct him how to play with me, and So after going through all that nonsense and taking tests and then raising kids for 10 years, my response to that would be, before I knew, when I was ignorant and very confused about the system of racism and white supremacy, I would have not allowed my children to see the Boondocks. In fact, that would have been grounds for terminating cable. But now that I have been informed about the system to some degree and have a degree of knowledge about what it is and how it works, racism and white supremacy would be discussed in my home now if I was still caring for children on a daily basis. And the Boondocks would be featured as mandatory television viewing.
What would you want them to focus on when they watch the Boondocks?
The behaviors of all the characters, the behaviors of, I would say mainly the behaviors of all the characters, the responses that each character gives to a particular situation. Because one of the things that I had learned was that non-white people tend to not stop and think and then make a decision. We typically just respond. And so that was something that I was always trying to police as a parent, is to just to get them first to stop, and then think about what they're doing, think about what they're saying, think about what's actually happening as opposed to just reacting. Because like I said, too many times I noticed there was just no thought put into a response. We just react, and then we don't take historical data into consideration. Meaning, if you've seen someone react this way 2 or 3 times, and he or she is not getting the desired result, why would you emulate that? You have to have a desired result.
That's a good question.
And so I'm going, do you know what your desired result is? And many times they haven't even thought about that. Now, what is the outcome you hope to get from this? In any given situation.
I wanted to ask, just say something about when the white guy was interviewing them about Barack Obama and some of the things that they were saying Barack was going to do. And I guess the dad, grandpa, whatever, granddad, he didn't know any of Barack's policies or anything. He was just wrong on everything. And I've met a lot of people like that, I mean, just like that. I mean, you asked him about, before he became president, what he was doing in Chicago. They have no idea. What he's done recently, they have no idea. I mean, I think 818, or she was talking about as far as criticizing Barack and stuff like that. And I think, that's probably true, you know what I'm saying? You have to make sure you're not, doing a self-hate Uncle Ruckus type thing, you know what I'm saying? But I found that black people have no idea of what his policies are and whatnot. So, yeah.
I would have to agree with you there, and I would say from my observations, they had no idea, and I did my homework. I felt like I had 2 years to do it with just, as long as the campaign went on. But that's one of the reasons I could not, in good conscience, vote for him, because I did my homework on his policies, on who he was associated with. He's George Bush's 9th cousin. I mean, God, he's against reparations. He's with Planned Parenthood, speaking at one of their dinners. It was just so many things, from the Council of Foreign Relations connection. So for me, I couldn't get all that excited, and it just really made Inauguration Day was just a really, really weird day for me. It was so surreal. I don't remember if I cried, but I know I had that lump in my throat, but I was conflicted. It just felt like, am I being punked? Like, is this going to turn out to be something really bad? Because I didn't really have confidence he'd buck the system and risk his life. But, yeah, everybody, Obama's president. We got a black president. My mom called and said, I'm packing my bags. I said, for what? I'm moving in the White House. I was like, whatever.
That sounds like Raleigh. That sounds like Raleigh. I don't know.
said, Mama is moving into the White House. I said, you are not Michelle Obama. Yeah, it was weird. It was, it felt surreal, like they were showing you something and teasing you with the image of something that wasn't really going to be the reality it was presented to be, as far as change coming for the good. So yeah, it was strange. That was a very, very strange day with me, full of a lot of conflicted emotions.
Yeah, for me too. I wish he would have played that clip, Gus, when Barack Obama said he repudiates, what's his name? Riley?
Huey.
Yeah.
Huey,
yeah. I almost played that one. Because I did think that was pretty hilarious. Yeah, I thought that was and revealing. Like I said, I do think they make an effort to illustrate racism, white supremacy, and how President Obama had to kind of show them he was willing to show these Negroes what was what. Yeah, I thought that was real interesting. Did y'all, attention to detail, at the very beginning of that program, they said before they said that Obama and Huey were friends. They said that they tried to connect Obama to some radical white people, and it was a picture of Bill Ayers. I was like, he was on the program. They had a picture of Bill Ayers at the very beginning of the program.
When you said something earlier about could it be that the most powerful white supremacists want him to be president, yes, absolutely yes. When you look at his connections, absolutely. They are the most powerful white supremacists, and that would be Rockefeller, Rothschilds, all the bankers, Federal Reserve people. That's who's supporting him. And from what I was informed in the video on Brother Hanif's channel that I told you about, they were saying that he was groomed by Zbigniew Brzezinski, who helped form the Trilateral Commission. So yes, I would absolutely say the most powerful white supremacists did want him in office.
Who made a comment about when they said that when they watched Boondocks before, they watched it because it was real?
Is that for Truth and Liberation?
Well, anyway, someone did make a comment about that. How it was real. And it just made me think about, how Granddad didn't know anything that was going on. And then right after Granddad's clip, or right after Granddad's interview, was Riley. And Riley just basically said it, I'm voting for him because he's black. And I know so many people that are non-white that even though they think they know what Obama's about, I truly believe they voted for him because he was black. That's it. They don't know anything about his policies whatsoever.
Yes.
I think today a lot of people still don't know about his policies, and that's what's sad.
Even if they do, they don't want to believe it because they voted for him. And this is where it adds to the confusion. You find out all these things and you don't want to believe it because he's supposed to be on your side. He's supposed to be speaking up for you because automatically because he's non-white, he's supposed to be doing something for you.
But in the beginning, a lot of black people were hesitant to vote for him. I remember seeing a lot of even black women, they were all for Hillary Clinton over Barack Obama. And it's like, is that another thing where we are more willing to vote for a white woman than to even have confidence that a black male could efficiently run the country? or sit in that position. You know, despite the years of television programming where they kept giving you black presidents in like the TV show 24, that movie where Morgan Freeman played God. There were quite a few. There was a bit of conditioning going on. And that's why I say I do believe the most powerful white supremacists wanted him in office. I think that being programmed for a few years before Barack started running, I think that was intentional.
Mhm. I agree.
And some people... Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, please continue.
I was just going to say, I think that some people are looking for Barack Obama to fail because they feel like someone made the observation before, I don't remember where I heard it, but they were saying if you notice, whenever you see a black man being promoted to a political office or a position of power, it's usually when things are falling apart. If you look at Detroit and Kwame Kilpatrick, there was a mayor of the city of Compton out here, and when you look at, black presidents, black governor, the blind one in New York, they were saying that usually when you see them allow a black male into a position like that, it's when things are already falling apart. And Louis Farrakhan said tonight, Barack Obama has taken this position at the time when America is beginning, I don't know if he said its downfall or decline, but something to the effect that basically he's taken this task on at the time where America is in its, most crucial, I guess, negative period. Basically same thing, with the other analogy.
That's something interesting, because I know, Gus, you said that, initially you were not thinking that Barack was going to be president. And I wonder, I thought he would, because I kind of equated it like what the caller was saying with the black presidents and in the movies and stuff. So, and knowing a little bit about his background, I said, yeah, he's going to. It just seemed, kind of along with this, it just seemed kind of to follow the script and the narrative a little bit. I think I just brought that up because I wonder, because you said, I know a lot of black people say, yeah, could you imagine, and this, that, and the other, but do you think that that's crucial for us to be trying to see where this narrative is going? I don't know.
You mean as far as watching the television programming and seeing if that's like playing out the reality to come?
As far as if they want him to be in power, to what end?
Well, what's in the movies? What is that? What is the one? Is it the one with Morgan Freeman where the world's about to be destroyed and he's the president? Is it the same thing with the movie with
Deep Impact?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Deep Impact?
Yeah. It just seemed like Bush set it up. Before his administration was out, they started all that bailout crap. They already had us entrenched in wars in Iraq and in Afghanistan. And then here, pass it on to the black man, fix it. You notice you didn't see Tea Partiers and white people out with signs for Bush, even though his whole presidency was just a big debacle. The whole 8 years, it was terrible. But they weren't out like that. But they were protesting what Bush was doing, not as much as they are Barack Obama. So they passed him this, dumpster full of crap. And now it's all on him. And I don't see the situations with the wars in Afghanistan or Iraq getting any better. And now they're even escalating to trying to pick a fight with Iran.
Hey, Gus, that dude Thugnificent, he he was calling his he said, I'm gonna call my niggas Obama and my bitches Michelle.
Right.
Now there was a real rapper that made that statement. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yes, there was a real rapper that made that statement. Jim Jones is his name.
Oh.
Wow.
Jim Jones.
Yeah, Jim Jones. He named himself Jim Jones. That's a fake. Yep, that's right.
Wow. That's
so.
Yeah. Well, right when you think I can't be surprised by black folk. Jim Jones.
Gus, you said it on the last show. You said racism is tough. Is that what you said? Racism, white supremacy is tough.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a well put together package. It's a very well put together package. I've been saying repeatedly, like I want to work on kids' books, so that younger non-white people can be exposed to counter-racism earlier and have that understanding quicker, because I feel like it's just too hard. Like, I feel like white people have almost perfected their niggerization package. Like, it's just too hard. Like, once that confusion is in, it's almost impossible to get it out. Like, I've just concluded that. Like, it's way too hard. Like, I think we would have a much easier time if you could get non-white people much younger. And I think it would be easier. I don't think it would take as much time and energy to inform the typical, like, 6-year-old non-white person about racism, white supremacy, as opposed to the typical 26-year-old, 36-year-old. Like, I think just their package is too good, and it's all encompassing, like everything. Like, I'm seeing that more now. Like, when you have a system, everything in that system supports everything else in that system. So, I mean, you can package things. Like, they can use their religion package to support their economic package, and vice versa. And they can use the entertainment package to support, I mean, it's just beautiful when you have something set up like that. And it makes it very difficult to get that confusion out if it's, you've had 26 years to let it roll. So yeah, it's white supremacy is real tough. Real tough. I mean, man.
I was actually thinking the exact same thing when I was in the bookstore the other night about how effective it would be to do something for children and make them aware of these things and to help counter, the negative images, and then to educate them as well. But if the parents aren't informed and they're resistant, do you think they would buy those types of books for their children?
I think it would be possible to package something that would be truthful about racism, white supremacy, and countering it, because I've heard so many non-white parents complain about the lack of quality material, reading material for younger non-white kids, that if you could offer them anything that even seemed mildly constructive, as long as you didn't have pictures of, like, black people with rifles going after white people, anything like that, as long as it, was mildly constructive, I think a significant number of non-white people would get it.
Okay. It's definitely needed. I was just watching something the other day, some video where it was talking about the need for black children to see better images of themselves, and they were advising parents to get brown-colored pencils or markers, and before they give children's books to their children, to color the characters to look like their children. And I'm thinking, well, God, somebody needs to just put out some books with people that actually look like them.
You can make it illustrated.
I'm sorry?
I just said make it illustrated. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I can do that. It's just, for me, it's thinking about storylines, but I could do illustrations myself for sure, but I just noticed another thing. Now, in neighborhoods that I've lived in that are predominantly non-black neighborhoods, non-white neighborhoods, there are no bookstores. You have to go outside of your neighborhood to go to a bookstore. But even in that, I have just not noticed a lot of black children and their parents in bookstores, which I think is also a sad thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder how many parents have library cards for their black children.
Mm-mm.
Probably not many. I mean, their package works well. Their package works very well. Yeah, the reading thing. That's just been consistent. And I think they bring that up on the they do bring that up on the Boondocks. Like Riley, he jokes about how he does not read. He brags about not reading. Excuse me, to Huey. He was in one of the episodes last season where he's yelling at Huey and telling him that he keeps his mind free. He doesn't let any of that book stuff get in there and mess him up or anything. And I think some other characters, some other black characters also boast or show off, flaunt their lack of reading. So yeah, that's a big problem.
The sad thing about that is I've had non-white people say exactly that to me.
Mm-hmm.
Especially regarding anything with the Bible. If I say, well, I was reading a book and it actually brings to light that this book came to be in there because of this and that, the response I'll get is, well, I don't know who those people are. They ain't saved. I'm like, do you think people that put the King James Bible together were saved? And that came from someone who's in ministry, too, unfortunately.
Oh, boy.
Yes, the lack of critical thinking is astounding. It's
the
very
package
sad.
Works well.
Yeah, it's tough.
The package works well. That's another illustration of how you can use the religious package to support your education, or with non-white people, your diseducation package. Like, that's what I'm saying. Their system is just too good. Like, I think it's just too hard to try to get victims at 30 or 25 or 20, even 15, really, and to try to work through that confusion. I think the earlier you can get them, the better. Like, I really think it needs to be like tons of kids' books, kids' videos, cartoons, like tons of stuff for kids so that they get that understanding. Because that's what white people do. Like, if you watch, any of the Song of the South, just said that with Boondocks. That way we can stay consistent. It's chock full of racism, white supremacy. Charlie Brown, it's chock full of racism, white supremacy. Winnie the Pooh, I argue, is full of white supremacy. The non-white characters are, in my opinion, those are non-white people. Christopher Robin, there's your white person. The darkest animal, Eeyore, he is like, I don't know, on the verge of suicide. I felt like that's black people. The ass, that's black people. They start. I could be crazy. That might not be, but I think that's what it is. They start them real early. They start them real early so that white people get a clear understanding of who they're supposed to relate to and who the non-white people are supposed to be. And I think that non-white people should do the same thing.
They do, and remember, if you go back to like the Bugs Bunny cartoons from back in the earlier days, and the Popeye one where he's riding on a boat and he's going to shoot Japs, and they make the Japanese people have humongous buck teeth and this jacked up bowl haircut and big glasses sitting on the edge of a primitive boat fishing with a fishing line in the water. They had one with Donald Duck. I forget who he was going to fight, but it was all pretty racist. It was very, they've definitely used that to practice racism, white supremacy, indoctrinate children with it. Even Jungle Book with the orangutan, King Louie, King of the Jungle. And he wanted Mowgli to teach him how to be human too, but they used a voice to do him that sounded like a black male. As well as the alligator in The Princess and the Frog, who wanted to play horns, but he would get rejected everywhere he would go. He was a little effeminate, too, but the person that voiced him sounded like a black male as well. Oh, and she had to work twice as hard. She had John Henryism in the movie. Princess Tiana had to work twice as hard to get her goal accomplished, and she never did get it accomplished. The black villain offered it to her, you know, under black magic, of course. He wasn't really going to give it to her, but then she ended up getting it by marrying a non-black prince. And her non-white friends, her black friends, didn't support her. They told her she would never achieve her goal, I guess, and that she was doing too much work. She should just forget it and go out and party with them. There were a lot of real screwed up messages in The Princess and the Frog, and it was kind of tragic to watch the news and see all these black mothers and their little girls with tiaras on, so excited to go see it. They dragged a couple of sons, but I'm thinking, what are the boys going to learn? Black princess can't have a black prince.
Go marry a white woman.
Hey, another one of my favorite characters on the Boondocks that I've seen was the old dude, Stink Miser.
Oh yeah, he's supposed to be back this season.
Oh yeah. Oh, when Tom has that nigga moment, that is classic, isn't it?
Yeah, that's. I mean, if there's one part where he's in hell, and he says to the devil, he talking smack to the devil, and he said, "I'm having the time of my life." He's in hell training. He said he's having the time of his life. He was loving it. Oh man, that character is off the hook. Yeah, that's one of my favorite characters right there.
He's supposed to be back. I heard Uncle Ruckus was giving an interview, and someone also likes Stinkmeaner, and Uncle Ruckus said he's supposed to be back this season for a third trip. So yeah, even that right there is interesting. Like they have shown you hell, and black people are in hell. They have shown you heaven, and white people are in heaven. Ronald Reagan is in heaven. Man.
Yeah, we don't do consensus on this show, but I wonder, do y'all think for real, like all things said and done, that this show, Boondocks, and we all love it, we all laugh at it and everything, but with the imagery and the content, do you think it's I don't know, you think is that I don't know if I don't know if I should ask that question, because it is a black man, he's trying to do he's doing his best, I guess, but yeah, I'll withdraw that question.
Were you going to ask if we thought it was constructive?
I was, but yeah, I changed my mind. He's just doing what he thinks is right. Mm-hmm. He's a victim of racism, just like all of us. So that's it.
Well, like I said before, I believe it can certainly be used as a teaching tool for children to highlight how the system, what the system is, how it works, and how you can adjust your behavior.
Here. And I do think that's why I don't think I wouldn't enjoy the show if I didn't think that there was a sincere effort to call attention to racism and white supremacy. Just the scene in it's from the first season, the scene from the hiatus, where it's like they pause and Huey gives a real quick counter-racist film review of soul food, and he's just like, they get together, they eat a lot of food, Big Mama dies from eating all this bad food, and they go right back to doing the same thing, the end. Like, even that just being, like, you know, quick and real heavy-handed about it is accurate, I think, just in terms of our behavior in general. It doesn't necessarily have to be on that film, but just our behavior in general, just doing the same thing, non-constructive result, keep doing. I think somebody had talked about that earlier, just to continue to do the same thing without really looking at the results and what exactly are we trying to accomplish here. I think the Boondocks does that consistently, just kind of putting a mirror up, as Mr. Fuller would say, putting a mirror up to our behavior, and just kind of you know, showing us how, in my view, how pathetic and pitiful black people are, I think.
And that's ultimately, in my opinion, what's driving the critics that are non-white of the show. They don't like what they see in the mirror.
Yep, I agree with that.
But I think that's also why we love it, because it's truthful, and it's nice to not be lied to.
I just want to play that back anytime someone brings up, you know, black pride and we should be proud of black people, black pride. I want to point that out that there seems to be some level of consensus that the Boondocks is an accurate representation of a significant number of black people, and that does not make us proud, period.
Yeah, that show's deep. The guest appearances, that the one, C.O.W.S, he was the preacher.
Rollo Goodlove.
Yeah, Rollo Goodlove. Oh, man, that dude. He's like Al Sharpton, or what's his name? The big guy that everybody loves with the gap teeth. He's a preacher. Very popular.
T.D. Jakes?
Yeah.
Okay.
T.D. Jakes. You know, because, like, I don't know, for me, well, I don't know. I don't want to go into it. But, yeah, that guy, Rollo Goodlove, reminded me of them. Kind of feminine, you know what I'm saying? Al Sharpton with the perm and whatnot. T.D. Jakes with the honey child, and you know what I'm saying? He says that I heard him say that in a sermon once, you know. Honey child, he's talking to the women. And honey child, I was like, wow, you know. And, that was it, man. I never watched him again. I mean, you know, I kind of was watching it for... And I don't know why I was watching, actually. We had some DVDs of it, and I was like, wow, this dude is... And then it's like Rollo Goodlove, he was eating all the time. And Huey, you know, Huey was fasting or yeah, he was hungry. Wow, that's just... And then he said at the end, he said, why starve? Why just starve? Oh, man. He said, why starve? Why just starve? And he clearly is not starving. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's the mentality. That's the mentality of people out here. I'm sure 818 can co-sign. Like, well, I guess it's all over the place. The so-called successful people, they're always eating in the black community. Like we call them the so-called ballers. They're fat. You know what I'm saying? That's how you can tell that they're balling. You know, they got money because they're fat. You know what I mean? They're always eating. They want to be eating in front of you. That's like to show their success. You know what I mean? So that was just interesting that he was eating in the face of somebody that was fat.
And I notice it's never fruits and vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually something you shouldn't eat.
Jeez, that's just crazy, man. Yeah, racism is tough, and and confusion is deadly.
Mm-hmm. I saw somebody tweeted that this week. I think I said confusion is lethal, and they tweeted that.
Oh, lethal, yeah.
I was like, oh wow, right on, Cal listeners, right on. But it's true, regardless of whatever. Confusion is lethal for sure. It should not be underestimated.
I mean, they got us with that misdirection in the Obama thing. I didn't vote for him, but like my friends, they voted for him. They were really proud, blah, 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 had stickers on their cars and whatnot. So-called friends, associates, or whatever, just people. They had stickers on their cars and, did I vote? And like that one scene in the last episode, this recent one of Boondocks, the one with President Obama. It was like, are you happy, little man? He was like, eh. And they was like, oh, what's going on? This nigga right here ain't excited.
Guys, relate to that.
He's not excited. Oh, man, like, you ain't excited? Why you not excited?
Yeah.
I mean, that's reality right there for you, man. I mean, I'm sure everybody can. That's reality. Like, they want you to be excited and hype, and that hype machine, was working on full throttle, all cylinders. Change.
You had white people hype.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh yeah. And they were practicing racism, man. Them people that was trying to get people to register to vote. I seen a video where this girl was getting people to register to vote, black people, and she ended up calling this dude a nigger. And she was working for the campaign.
That's on YouTube, right?
Okay.
Yeah, you seen it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Anything else I can do for you besides just to tell her that?
I was just talking about the hype machine, though. I think Nelly Fuller taught the showcase or whatever. They misdirected us. They said, this is historic. Nothing about policy. Nothing about what his voting record was. It was all about historic. It was he's black guy. You know what I'm saying? Change, hope. This is the new Jesse Jackson.
Better soon.
Jesse Jackson didn't make it, but Jesse Jackson reincarnated. You know what I'm saying? Nothing about politics. Yeah, right. Martin Luther King. He got
Abraham Lincoln.
Right. And that just kind of got the black people in a fury. Kids and everybody bought into it, and.
Do you remember though when they pitted when they played the whole thing pitting Jesse Jackson against Obama because Jesse Jackson had made that comment saying Barack Obama was talking down to black people?
Mm-hmm.
How the media played that?
Yeah, that was orchestrated. Jesse Jackson. What you think, Nero? I think Jesse Jackson knew exactly what he was doing. I think he knew that microphone was on and everything.
To me, I just thought a bigger sign for black folks that something wasn't right, and the only thing I could point to was, man, we must have some form of feeble-mindedness collectively, because this man walked away from his pastor, and his God. And black folks didn't have a problem with it.
Well, because they wanted to make him into a Muslim anyway.
That's true. They were always, trying to do that. But once he walked away from that church, I figured, okay, this is a sign, that he is not in a position or is going to do something to help black people collectively. Because as soon as a little heat was applied, he bailed. And remember, he gave a speech saying that he wasn't going to bail out on him.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I couldn't do that no more, and I could do that to my white grandfather. And then turned around and did it anyway.
As Minister Farrakhan said, he did what he was told.
That is correct. That to me was a huge red flag for us, but we didn't see it.
Man, we have it's that integrity thing. Like you said, we don't take that stuff seriously. It's like, okay, where do you draw the line? I mean, you want somebody to have some type of integrity. If they don't, you just let them pass, and then, man, that's what I see all the time, man. People lie to you and then come in your face and then they're smiling and stuff like it's all good. Like, wait a minute, you just deceived me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, just recognizing that politics is about lying and deception anyway, and then to know that he's related to both Dick Cheney and George Bush by blood. I didn't look for any honesty. After 8 years of Bush, I wasn't too hopeful that anyone from either the Democratic or the Republican Party was going to run with any integrity and buck the system and change anything.
Yeah,
regardless.
Yeah, that's you, but a lot of black people, man, and still to this day, they just, they just gone.
I think one of our problems is we're too emotional and we're not analytical. We don't use critical thinking enough. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's easy to manipulate us. You just go to any church. Watch how motivated people are by emotionalism and what decisions they make by emotionalism. The same thing with even thinking about critically looking at anything in the Bible. They can't bring themselves to it. They get emotional. I had a neighbor screaming in my face. I think he's white. I'm not sure. I had a neighbor screaming in my face because I told him there were some contradictions between what the Apostle Paul wrote and what was taught by Jesus. I'm on the sidewalk walking my dog, and he's screaming at me over that. But a lot of that stuff's been so indoctrinated in us, we just can't even think to criticize it.
And they had that clip of Pastor Wright. He said, damn America, daddy, damn America, mama. That was hilarious. I mean, like Obama, that statement he made when Hillary Clinton asked him to basically denounce Farrakhan on stage. Now, he shouldn't have did that. Like you said, like Nero was saying, that's a sign. I mean, he should have been like, I don't deal with the dude. He in Chicago, I'm in Chicago. He do him, I do me. No, we need a statement, you know what I'm saying? And he did it. That's what that O'Reilly, he said, basically, I add anybody on his Facebook page. He said, basically, I add anybody.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
I mean, the way that they had him talking was so perfect. Like, oh man, like this dude, he'll say anything. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, let's face it. He's got a big payday coming on the talks on the lecture circuit after his term is up. Big payday coming.
Does anyone know if the guy named Alpha Cat did Obama's voice on the cartoon? Was that Alpha Cat?
Oh.
Do you guys know?
I don't know who did his voice.
Yeah, I didn't check the credits. I wanted to though. But
You
I
guys
was saying like that statement. Don't you think that was a little extra? Like, why did he have to? You know, he said I don't really. First, he said he didn't really deal with him, and then she said, well, I need you to rebuke his life or whatever. And he said, okay, let me say for the record right now, basically what he said about Riley. yeah. Which
is why I thought that was beautiful that they started the program with that and Reverend Wright. Yeah, I mean, and I wish Dr. O'Reilly could have been a little better yesterday, but I wanted him to really point out the contrast. Ronald Reagan, he got the endorsement from the Ku Klux Klan, and it took him 3 weeks before he came out to say, hey, I'm going to reject their nod, they're terrorists, racists. I'm not going to, seek support from criminal racist thugs. It took him 3 weeks to come out, and I mean, just compare that with President Obama having to be wheeled out and renounce and denounce and rebuke and everything else. Louis Farrakhan, who, to my knowledge, has not done anything, does not have a record anything close to that of the Ku Klux Klan.
And how swiftly Obama had to have that beer summit after he said that the Cambridge police acted stupidly.
Dang, that's just, I don't understand. Well, I understand it. Yeah, I understand it. I can't say I don't understand it, but it's just, I don't know. I guess when you hear people talk, you wanna say, man, he could have did so much. He could have put a freeze on the mortgages. He could have. It was just he had. When you hear him talk, it's like he had the country behind him. He could have did this. He could have did that. He could have did this. He could have did that. And it's like people still waiting for him to open up his shirt with the S on it underneath, you know what I'm saying? Like I was just, I don't understand. I don't know. He's.
See, if he had bucked the banks, he'd be in the same position Lincoln was in after he bucked the banks and wouldn't renew that I forget what they call it, but the 20-year charter for the central banks. Yeah, Obama would likely have ended up like Lincoln if he went against the bankers. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. That's who's running the show.
And what about that? What's the white lady's name that's married to Tom? I don't know her name, but you guys.
Sarah.
Sarah, yeah, it is Sarah.
I wonder what he was. Well, I've seen it. Yeah, I was gonna say I wonder what Aaron was trying to say. As far as her character. I did see a little bit of that as far as them talking about how he was so handsome and stuff. You know what I'm saying? They tried to make him out to be the. So I don't know. I thought that was interesting.
Her character to me is very consistent with the white females that I see engaged in these kind of relationships, especially those with offspring.
Right, and her ticket seemed to have went through pretty good. You know what I'm saying? She came back and said, I met him and everything, and Riley and Granddad, they was they was tortured. It was tortured. Oh man.
And Granddad was a civil rights hero.
I mean,
he opened the door.
I mean, isn't it accurate to say that Sarah's daughter believes that she's white.
In the strip, I think it shows her being confused. Like, I think in the strip understands she's not white. In the television program, it hasn't really come up, I don't think, unless I'm misinformed.
Yeah, I haven't seen it come up in the television show, but in the strip, it's a big issue. And so whenever Huey sees her, he makes sure to mention that she's black, and then she like has a fit.
Mhm. Yes,
She's like, I'm biracial. I'm sorry.
I mean, there's no responsible black adults on the show ever.
I don't think there are any responsible black people on the show, period. Like, I mean, who would you all, if you had to pick a character on the show to, like, represent you, like, I'll say it that way. That way, if it's a female character and you're a male, you can just say, fine, you know, that person shares my worldview. If I had to pick somebody that's close to how I think about the world, how I want to conduct myself, it would be that person. Is there anybody on the show that you would pick? Black people, excuse me. Any black person on the show that you would pick?
Not that I can think of.
I would like to see myself as a mix between Huey and Riley.
Two kids, two black male children voiced by a female. Okay. And even with Huey, in all of his militancy, he is incredibly impotent. I mean, to begin with, he's 10, but I mean, I think the 2 episodes where he tried to do the most, from season 1, the last episode, The Passion of the Ruckus, when he was trying to get his friend out of jail, he couldn't do anything. He was reduced to praying to white Jesus, or whoever he was praying to. And the first episode of season 3, It's a Black President, he can't even get out of town. He doesn't have a car. He's left sitting on the porch. Like, he can't even retreat on his own. So I mean, for all of his ranting, he's pretty impotent. And he's voiced by a female, whatever that means.
I guess I might. This is a joke, but when I watched it, because sometimes, because I'm not that big, but I was gonna say a big nigga, because I'm kind of big. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, some people yeah, that's that character. I just thought that funny, man. Some people try to put me in that category, except I'm not, you know, I'm not aggressive or nothing. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, yeah, that's too funny. I used to be though, but yeah, I was just mad. You know, racism is, like you said, it's tough, man. You know what I'm saying? And you know, black males get put in that position where they don't know who to blame or what to do, and yeah, but I'm over that. So yeah, but maybe Huey, but Huey too. He seems, you know, that, I don't know. Like you said, I think a lot with the black so-called pride and all of that, and yeah, like you said, it's like his impotency too. I see that within some of these movements. You know what I'm saying? They're frustrated, man. You know, you hear them talk and lecture and do this and that, and they're frustrated. They're so frustrated they don't even know what to do. Then they start attacking each other and cussing each other out. Other black people, that's supposed to be revolutionary too, black pride and all that. They be fighting with each other. It's like they're impotent, man. They have no power. No power. And when they realize that after all that talking they do, at the end of the day they realize, damn, you know, I ain't got no power.
I think that's one of the reasons they argue and fight with each other so much, is to try to prove they have some sort of power that they don't have.
Yeah. like with Bird, she want to control the show, and she want to control Gus. I mean, dang, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if she got kids. I don't know if she got kids and stuff like that, but it's like you can't. You want to enforce and control people, non-white people that are trying to. That just doesn't. That don't make no sense, man. But it just shows. It just shows that there's nothing else you can do but beat up on somebody. It's like. Yeah,
are you talking about the lady that called the other day?
Yeah, she left. Yeah, she left comments and want to control the show, basically.
I hadn't read the comments, but Gus interjected and said what he said, and I was like, okay, dang, what was up with that? And then he said it later, but I was like, wow.
And that's a bad look too for like I think she's like more elderly but a woman, but that's not good to want to try to control and then and belittle it. That's just not good. But why would a person like do that and make themselves look like that? Anybody with eyes to see would see it like that. Like, wow, you putting yourself out there big time, like making yourself look real, all on the screen, all on the list, the comment thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's effort. It wasn't one comment; it's like 8 of them.
I haven't read them, but I guess that's confusion.
Why I do not have a chat room for the program anymore.
Yeah, and you know what I found online? It is when you're trying to get something constructive done and you want people to pay attention, the comments, having that open does tend to lead to a lot of distraction and confusion.
Yeah, you can't listen and read at the same time. The stuff that's coming, just being inputted into your brain, you could, you're trying to read and comprehend that and then try to hear and miss the whole show.
It is to be expected from victims.
And white people.
Yes.
Because she could be a white person. It could be a suspected racist, white supremacist. So,
So in this case, I know Bird, and Bird is not a white person. So.
Oh, okay.
Does she have a program on Blog Talk Radio as well, or is she just a listener?
Yeah, she's just a listener, as far as I know.
Yeah, I just think it's best, like you said, if you don't find it constructive, find something else that you do find constructive. Like, why spend all your time trying to tear apart what someone else is doing? It's not like anything else has solved the problem, so.
And it's not like that, like, we care. We on the bottom of the ship. We at the bottom of the ship, chained up, getting rations. I mean, am I supposed to now, what? What do you expect? That's totally irrational. You think I don't care what you say, what you do, what you say. Man. I'm trying to get, I don't know. This doesn't make too much. It doesn't make sense. But like I said, it's just that, like I said, people don't have no control. They try to, instead of facing the reality, they try to, that's what I've been seeing in the so-called black pride and stuff. So that's why I wouldn't identify with Huey as much as,
Well, even with the characters on the Boondocks, I think there's elements of each character, probably within all of us. Shades of it.
I'll ride on this because we're almost out. I hope that's not true, even though that sounds accurate. I hope that's not true because they have a lot of gay black males on the Boondocks.
Oh, no.
I mean, it's tons of gay black male activity on the Boondocks. I don't know if you all caught the program from last week, but the that 1 minute song of Will I Am and Thugnificent doing B-riding Obama is probably one of the most gay 60 seconds worth of animated viewing I've seen in a long time. So I hope I do not have elements of all of the characters because there's just a lot of gay characters. Yeah. Anybody out there who participates in so-called homosexual gay activity and you're offended, you know, that's just life. Sorry. Yeah, that's about all the time we have. Nice spot to end. Maybe we could do other shows on the Boondocks as the season rolls along. We'll be back on Friday. But Dr. Eddie Moore Jr., yes, 818, make sure you're here to ask your questions. Dr. Eddie Moore Jr., founder of the White Privilege Conference, married to an admitted racist. He'll be here Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Should be a hoot. I'm excited. I hope Justice will be here. If you didn't hear him when he was here last May, might be a constructive investment of your time and energy to check that show out beforehand, because that'll give you a lot more background on what happened last month at the White Privilege Conference and the Soothing Lotion sound clip that has been playing for a year now. Part 2 this Friday. I'm looking forward to it. Should be a hoot. Yeah, thank you all for hanging in late. Love, Truth, Liberation all the way on the East Coast. I appreciate it. Hope it was worthy of your time and energy. And if not, you know, so what? Replace white supremacy with justice as soon as possible. Thank you, and Cal's signing out.